Hi all, welcome to Freedom Friday. We're just missing our Jill's just got a new computer, so we're missing our lovely intro with our nice little soothing music. So I'm just going to jump straight into it today, and we are going to be talking about parallel economies and circular economies, and what are they? How do they work? Why do I think we need them? And then at the end, we're going to finish with people in the DeFi Freedom Group. We've already had a bit of a discussion about joining a particular project that we're in called the Peoples Reserve. And so, if anyone is interested in jumping into that to find out some details, unfortunately, we're a little bit hamstrung in that we can't really give out. I can't really present on the TPR. The People's Reserve is what TPR stands for, because of their compliance rules. They're quite strict about it to preserve their intellectual property, to keep it a little bit under wraps, because it's still it's not in public knowledge yet. It's not in the public domain in New Zealand. And I don't want to get in trouble with the compliance. If I'd said something that was misconstrued, I could get in trouble by them and by the powers that be. So I'll just play it real safe. And so I've got a couple of slides that I've quickly made up. So I'm just going to share my screen and bring that up. Bear with me. So, yeah, so a parallel economy. It could also be referred to as a circular economy. So I'm going to explain there are some slight differences to, excuse me, I'm just going to make sure I've got my full screen mode in operation. Slideshow, play from start. There we go. So yeah, so what is a parallel economy? Well, basically, as the name implies, it's running parallel to the existing system. And when I decided to do a little Google search just to see what Google would give me when I put in parallel economy. And I got about 3 pages of how a parallel economy is a black economy. It's a like a dark web kind of economy. It was just loaded with obviously protectionism to the existing system, because all the text was all about how it's bad, it's evil, it's a threat to the financial system, and all of this. And I thought, well, great, then it shows to me that I'm on the right track, because this is exactly why we need a parallel economy. And so the difference with this, what is a circular economy? The fact is that the existing system is a type of circular economy as already. It's a circular economy when you think about it. It's a circular economy for the central bankers and the powers that be, because we work hard and we pay. We get paid this income via our job or our business or whatever, and then they tax 30% or whatever it is, which goes up to, eventually gets up to the Fed and all that. And so we're constantly providing a sort of a circular, we're providing a one-way street of our money's going to them, and then they are circulating the money they scoop from us, and the money that they print for themselves, remember, is the biggie. And then they circulate that money that they get from tax and they get from their printing, and then they distribute it to their key banks, they distribute it to Wall Street, they distribute it to their big businesses that are having trouble, they bail them out. And they just simply then reap the rewards. So they're constantly and what's left, which is very little, is what we are fighting for. So it's really quite insidious. And then when you throw in other things like interest that they slap onto their freely printed money, which is simply created in the back of a computer now. They're not physically printing the money. They are literally just creating it on a computer screen. So it's already digitized, but it's sort of digitized in secret, if you pretty much. It is a kind of conspiracy. And then you got fractional reserve banking. Fractional reserve banking is that basically they can lend out 10 times, 100 times more than the reserves they are holding in the banks. And if someone is acquiring a loan, when that loan is created, then the banks legally have the ability to then create 100 times more than that loan in new money. So this is what keeps us enslaved and what keeps money flowing around amongst their own hands. Parallel economy is a fractional reserve economy is really what a Ponzi scheme is, because they're simply robbing us and then they're lending it out at so many percent above what they actually hold. And then when the system is about to collapse, which is what is happening now, because it's collapsing, they have no responsibility on the debts that they've incurred, and they still want to reset the economy so that basically they scoop up all our assets as well. This is really what is going on. And so the fact is they've got all the money virtually, and yet they're still in debt. So it's really got to stop. It's really got to stop. And really, to me, the need for a parallel economy is absolutely paramount now. So within that, I'm going to zoom out a bit more and look at there's parallel realities happening all throughout in fact, our entire universe. And there's parallel universes that go on basically infinitely out in space. So this concept of a parallel reality or a parallel economy is really just a stepped down kind of physical version of what kind of happens in nature anyway. If something is not happening the way there's the way it is that like a cell is dividing in our body. They use the cellular division. Is nature's constantly dividing itself and creating more of itself. And if you could look at a cell in our body as a universe, then we have trillions of parallel realities within our body. And we've got probably trillions of parallel universes in our entire galactic reality as well. So in that sense, I just thought I'd throw that in it. I find that quite amazing. So as the saying goes, as above, so below. So each cell being like a universe, our body is like a universe, and each atom is like a universe. And then we have the actual universe and solar systems and galaxies. So these are all really just plays on the same basic construct. And then we have like multi dimensions. We talk about 3D being the physical dimension, and then 4D, I sort of refer that as an overlay. It's like an overlay with another layer of a mental plane coming in over the physical plane. And then we have the much talked about 5D. 5D is like another overlay again. And these dimensions go up to, I believe there's something like at least 21 or 23 dimensions. Each one nested within each other. So you could say that 3D is kind of the lowest dimension, if you like, which consists of the first and second dimension. It's where physical reality shows up. So we talk about moving into the fifth dimension, or the fifth the fifth dimension, or the fifth density. That's the word I'm looking for. Or sometimes it's the fifth dimension is referred to as the fourth the fourth density. So I don't want to get hung up on some of these terminologies, but you get the drift. Is that 5D is another reality? It's like parallel to our current 3D. And what's happening in the earth now is that this template for the fifth dimension is actually already there. And it's within our reach now, because as people waken up, and as we raise our frequency, we raise our vibration, we raise our energy levels simply by letting go of the illusions that we have taken on, our beliefs. As now that Corona is 2 years into the world, a lot of people are waking up under that pressure, and that, by virtue of the letting go, allows us to kind of ascend, if you like, although that gets very misconstrued. But the ascension is really an expansion of energy. And as that happens, it's natural that some things in our physical reality, it's not a stretch to think that then our physical reality is also going to split, if you like. And the people who, because ascension still happens in a physical body. We still need a physical body. We still got to be anchored to the earth. We still got to be anchored to the physical reality. However, we can operate in a more higher or more refined energy world. And with that can come a parallel economy. I mean, this is something that I am proposing. I'm not saying it's the truth, but it's something that I think is very interesting. And naturally, if the 5D is going to have its own economy, it's naturally going to be an economy that's serving people, that is community based, that has a circular nature amongst the people. I think that is very critical. And so this is sort of what I think is happening. Is going to be a split happening in our physical reality, in our economy. And I'm already seeing it with DeFi. I'm already seeing it with the way the blockchain operates. People can now start exiting the current system. And it is a tricky time because we're in transition. But as we navigate this, and as more people come on board, and as more people awaken, I can see absolutely the reality where we can jump into a whole new reality that is outside the current system, and it needs to interact with the current system at this point. That's what makes it a bit hard to get your head around, because we have to kind of use the existing system so we can get started, so we can get our money out of the bank, and we go through the process of DeFi, smart contracts, and all of this. But as more of us do that, we through the participation of those people, we will start creating a, a new economy, and that is already well underway with technology. Now it's coming about that various projects are appearing that look like classic parallel circular economies. So yeah, I kind of already covered that. Yeah, the current system is a circular economy for the centralized bankers and their cohorts, whereas we can now create a people's circular economy that is parallel to the existing system. So here's a little schematic that I pulled off the internet, actually, that sort of gives you an idea in a graphic form how it could potentially work. You have the community bank. Well, the community bank could be it could be. We've talked about global unit pay. We've talked about hyperpay in the hyperverse ecosystem. Um, they give an example here of a credit union and a local exchange trading system. Well, this can be our crypto exchange, and these can just be adapted to our current crypto projects. And your bank may well be your wallet. It could be your crypto wallet, for example. And then we could form I was talking about cooperatives, and here we could create a community cooperative, or a trust, a societal trust that's connected to that. And then over here we can have workshops and resources. This is where we can do the education side of things, like what we're doing with DeFi Freedom. We can educate people and re-educate people into what crypto is, and blockchain, and spiritual stuff, and all sorts of things. And then down here we could have a land trust, because land is extremely important. We cannot be displaced from our land. Land is vital for us to put down our roots, to create the communities upon, and we cannot have this situation where in UN 2030 agenda, they want to take our land off us. When Klaus Schwab says, "You shall own nothing and you'll be happy," what he means is that we will all be renters. Their vision is that we will own literally nothing, and we will rent everything, and they will provide us with a universal basic income and other things. And we're supposedly be happy because they're gonna give us the Kool-Aid to try and pacify us with like things like UBI, and it absolutely cannot work. So we have to have our land. We have to have land, and I see groups coming together, maybe going back to living in cooperative style arrangements on large blocks of land that will be dedicated to food. As over here, they've got the food co-op, and they've got community enterprises, and so lots of little sub enterprises could pop up within the community. Cooperative businesses based on the same format, and having our smart contract or this could be a DAO. This could be our decentralized autonomous co-op that could operate here, like I was talking about last week. And then we could have, renewable energy things, and we could make our own clothing from hemp, just to use an example. And we could have, anything that's going to benefit the community. And obviously, agriculture and food and land and property are key to the key foundations of this, so that we can at least live and eat well and have a place where we can all congregate. So that this diagram gives a bit of an idea of how it could work in an infrastructural way. Um, it's this is just literally, I just pulled this off the web about an hour ago, and as I start delving into these things, ideas start pouring in, and I'm starting to see the real building, the actual creating process is well underway in my head, and we've got tools and technology now, which I might add, the technology can be used or abused. It can be abusive to us, or we can use it for our advantage. And we need benign forms of AI, like smart contracts, that just simply create automation in our life to get us on with the business of creating a new community. So this the whole concept of 5G and all of that. I think that either is going to evolve and be refined into a beneficial Tesla type energy, or it will go. I mean, we do not need to be hooked up to a grid. That 5G is needed for their version of AI will run the whole world. They want their metaverse will be completely AI driven, and we will be completely consumed into this new metaverse reality, which I do not support one iota. I love the idea of having a metaverse that we can interact with, and maybe it could be used to help re-educate the people that are in there, but that's about as far as it goes. And also, it might have some use for work and virtual meetings and stuff, and for some maybe fun. But really, I don't like the idea of the whole world being, another simulation within the simulation of matrix we're already in. I think that's enough. We don't need another layer. It's just another layer of illusion. Um, and we're talking about models. This is another model. This is an example. Before I was even thinking about parallel realities, we're already this is an example of another project we're in called Everrich. And this shows how this is a completely self-contained ecosystem that's already developing. I won't say it's developed yet. It's still in process, but it is developing and it is well on its way, and it's got a lot of fundamentals in place. We have our own bank, and we have a merchant program coming, and there's a big community aspect to it. There's education here with the API. There's a portfolio that's already loaded with assets that's worth well over $11 billion. And we have our currency. And in this parallel reality that I'm talking about, this parallel economy, we will be using a crypto. We'll be using a digital asset or digital currency. And it makes it easy to trade, and it makes it easy to trade amongst ourselves peer to peer without any intermediary, without any middlemen. I'm not, this is not the basis of this discussion. I just wanted to show you that there's already parallel economies being built. Hyperverse is another one. It also has its own ecosystem. It's purely blockchain based, where this is offline as well as online. But the fact is that we are already involved in emerging parallel economies. And I believe that what's happening is, as people awaken, they will become filled with the conscious people, the creators. The awareness will be high, and we will be the beginning. It was almost like we're a breakaway kind of race, if you like, but ultimately this will become the the not a parallel reality, but the ultimate existing one reality. So this might take hundreds of years to get fully refined. I don't know, but this is where it's starting. It's starting now, and I won't go into that just yet. We'll talk about that later. But there is another one. It's called the People's Reserve. The People's Reserve is a local. It's come to New Zealand, and it's a way to join up merchants with consumers in our own circular parallel economy. And it is so we can jump into that now. There isn't any need to even wait. It's already happening in pre-launch, um, and it's got some properties that I think are tailor made for what's happening in the world today. You've got the look at the issue that's happening with businesses, with people who have chosen not to have a certain injection. You know, they're getting ostracized. We've got groups of people splintering all over the place, and we can't operate how we used to. Uh, Systems are breaking down. The economy is breaking down. They're printing money like it's going out of fashion, which is further collapsing the economy. It's creating a very high inflation that I think is significantly underreported. The official rate is around 6%. Interestingly enough, they said 6.6% in New Zealand, or I think it was 5.8%, but it's exactly the same amount as America is reporting. And there's commentators that are up in arms over that level of inflation, but I think it's more like at least double that. It's at least double that. You just have to go into a store and see the price of stuff to to see it for your own eyes. So it's completely manipulated. They change the basket of goods that they are basing it on. So they're constantly moving the parameters, and you know they're doing that right across the board in our current life. So that's this is what we've got to contend with. So the need has come for a parallel economy. It's absolutely paramount now. And I believe the blockchain and crypto and smart contracts are providing us with the perfect tools to make this happen. We couldn't have done this before. We could not have done this previously without the blockchain. It just wasn't possible because the reason being that blockchain is breaking up the centralized control through decentralized finance and through smart contracts and other technologies. Individually, they're very powerful, but they've all coalescing together now, which has created a major headache for the controllers. This is this is why they really got this great reset on fast track, which I think actually think that they are significantly losing control, and I don't think the reset is going to happen. I really don't. I'm not sure what's happening here, but just oops. There we go. So yeah, so I think this is a very exciting time to be alive. I know that there's a lot of crap that's coming out, but I think that this is part of the devolution of the existing system as we then can re-evolve into a whole new system based on a completely new structure and a new infrastructure ultimately. So, it's one of those things now where it's happening. people are already moving into crypto at a rapid rate, over 200 million people, and it's growing at 118 or 116% year on year. So we're going to see some real huge um, shifts happening. Can I elaborate why I think reset is not going to happen? Well, for what I'm already sort of started to allude to, blockchain is creating decentralization. It's already creating the ability for people to start transacting within themselves. I also think the awareness rising is a major factor. And because they're centralized, that means that all eyes are on you. I mean, instead of having to um, think where do these central controllers operate? Where do they live? Where are they? Well, now you've seen the likes of uh, you never used to see this guy Carstens, Edward. I can't remember his first name, but Carstens is the head of the Bank of International Settlements. I don't think anyone knew even who the Bank of International Settlements was at COVID time. But if you're in the crypto community, the Bank of International Settlements are doing a lot of um, media broadcasts now. They never ever used to do that 2 years ago. Same with the IMF. The IMF are coming out. They're giving a lot more info, and you can see in their voice, and you can hear what they're saying. They're talking about existential threats. You know, they talk in this sort of very, you know, strange language where they kind of won't name, they won't name us, and they won't name it specifically because they're petrified. But they're talking about existential threats coming from technology, and that's, of course, that's what it is. This is the crypto. This is the ultimately it's the blockchain and the decentralized blockchain they most fear, and people creating projects like what we are seeing outside of the sanctions of their current system. Now, there's another thing also is that because of the awakening happening, um, we used to have a saying in our business. You know, I've done a lot of business over the years, and we had a saying that we used to spend more time putting out fires than actually creating the business. And this is where I went through many years of struggle because I was constantly putting out fires. I was constantly all my energy and all my time and resources was getting consumed dealing with all of these issues that were coming my way. And I was in a quite a sort of a groundbreaking business. I was in businesses that was bringing brand new products to the market, and so it was tough. But in that, I was encountering all kinds of problems, oppositions. I had groups of people who were really dead set against me failing. I basically changed the whole nature of the salt industry and got people aware that iodized salt was actually iodized salt is actually iodate. It's just a synthetic copy that they were putting into salt that had already been bastardized by being stripping the minerals out. So I had a lot of opposition. The supermarkets, the buyers, the mainstream people hated the fact that I was bringing this pink salt that was still fully mineralized and fully as nature intended. And so, you know, I was putting out a lot of fires because I was constantly defending myself. Same with the essential oils. When I'm bringing out essential oils, you know, I had a lot of opposition from different groups, from the aromatherapy group. You know, there's ladies there that didn't like me being a guy, or that I wasn't qualified, so I shouldn't be selling it, and all this sort of stuff. But the point is that if we're putting out a lot of fires, we're not actually creating anything. And the central controllers, in my view, they are so busy putting out so many fires. They're getting attacked by so many quarters. There's the truckers' convoys that are springing up all around the world. There's people taking their politicians and that, and all sorts of things legally happening there. They're getting served with writs, their own system being used against them. And like there's so much waking up, and so many people, demonstrating on such huge numbers. They can't create you can't, they haven't got a vacuum in which to create it, and they're constantly having to bat off all us people. And there's a lot more of us than them, and they are getting bogged down in the weeds of this. But I'm seeing it because I look at a lot of different areas: geopolitical, the crypto space, the general financial system, health sector, and all of this. And just about every aspect of government and local government and authorities, they are just under a huge volume and weight of opposition and resistance, and people just not taking it anymore. They just, that when they're at your wits' end, people will just suddenly find their voice and their feet, and they'll start opposing this rubbish. So I believe that I've had it from others in the actual industry, high up in the industry. They've said the Great Reset is majorly, the wheels are falling off. But the trouble is, not many of us actually get to see that. They don't get to see the evidence of that. But if you look around and really start digging in, and just don't see life as a one-way street where they just do stuff to us and we're just going to take it anymore. They act like they have all the power, but they actually don't. And this has been prophesized that the people will wake up for a long, long time. And I believe those prophecies are coming true. And we have to have faith. We have to have faith, and we have to switch off the TV, and even we have to switch off a lot of the alternative media actually as well. In social media is rife with perpetuating the very thing that we're trying to get away from. We just need to be discerning what we look at and get busy creating, because we humans are ultimate creators, especially when we're under the pump, or when there's an absolute need to create. When we're kind of like pampered and sitting on our couch with our beer and watching TV and everything's provided for us, we haven't got any reason to change. Why would you want to change? It's too comfortable. But now that we're getting forced off the couch and having to look at the world, that alone is creating a massive shift in the way we operate our life. And I think that, this is just going to keep growing. Once you wake up and see the reality of what's happening, you can't unsee it. And that's happening with the central bankers, the IMF, the Federal Reserve. This SEC case against Ripple has dragged out so many people now seeing how corrupt the SEC is. And it goes right throughout the whole entire system, right down to council level. In New Zealand, with this Three Waters thing, what's happening with wanting to jab the 5-year-olds. I mean, for God's sake, that is just so out there. And look, there's always going to be there's always going to be 30-odd%, they reckon, that are going to be hardline, that will never change. But there's 30% of us that are well and truly on the way. And the other 40% that sit in the middle are now going to have to choose which side of the fence they're on. And I think they are largely choosing the side of freedom and the side of truth and the side of and you see it with the Canadian truckers, how peaceful that was. They tried their best to, unsettle them, but they did it so well. And that shows to me a real maturity that is starting to come in amongst the people, where they just simply made it so big and so hard to ignore that that is going to create is creating a huge knock-on effect, a ripple effect. Now trucker convoys are happening all over the world, and this is just the beginning. It'll go from trucker convoys to new initiatives, and more people will get emboldened. And we've got teachers rising up. We've got firefighters, police. Even police are accepting these charges that are being laid against some of our so-called powers that be. So yeah, I mean, we can open this up to discussion, and we can open it up for more questions. But also, for anyone who might be interested in the People's Reserve, if you want to hang around at the end, we are doing a collective pool for that. We've put. I've had a good chat to one of the key organisers, and he's going to allow us to create a little co-op. We, instead of, because the minimum amount is $5,000 New Zealand, but not a lot of people have $5,000. So we can collect up to a maximum of 12 people. We can only take 12 people in the first tranche because they're doing everything manually to ensure that everything is done right. And the people that are coming into this are of the right caliber. They don't have nefarious intentions. And so they're working with people like us, and have a community of people really willing and keen to get off the mouse wheel, and who have a good integrity and consciousness. So we can pool our resources, put the money in, and then we get better buying power. And then what happens is, then when they issue the TPR, you can all download your own wallet, which we will show you how to do on our study group on Monday if people need it. And then we can allocate your proportion of what you put in money-wise. You can get the TPR. And then as soon as you get it, you start earning interest. We start earning interest on our money instead of the Fed collecting interest from us. We can earn interest from within ourselves on this. And because it's anchored to the highest price of gold, that's the ultimate hedge. It's the ultimate. It's almost as good as having the gold in your own pocket, except you don't have to carry it around. It's having your currency that has got that gold backing, and that's, I believe, will come eventually. We will have a gold-backed global currency, or a gold-backed cryptocurrency. And possibly it might be one of the cryptos that we have been promoting. I don't know, but there's certainly a lot of chatter about it. And anyway, this is a way for us to, you don't have to be a merchant to be involved in this. You can simply buy the crypto and hold it, but then you can start spending it with the merchants that come on board, which are growing hugely in Australia. And in Israel, it's just absolutely gone ballistic over there. And it's certainly taking real root in Australia. It's going very, very fast there. But I know the interest here in New Zealand is huge. And I'm quite sure that as things start to collapse further, as people become more and more losing trust and faith in the dollar, which is not the mighty dollar anymore. I know people are worried about cashless societies, but honestly, the cash is soon to be trash. It's been inflated to nothing. It is absolutely not worth anything, except the only thing that keeps it alive is the belief that it is worth something. And very soon we're going to have a major realization that it'll just happen very quickly. Like over a period of a few days or weeks, I think you'll see a very dramatic collapse in our system, which is going to leave us high and dry. But we have the ability now to get in a life raft and get to safety before that happens. If we wait until the actual system fully collapses, which I, by the way, think is a good thing, even though the powers that be are trying to collapse it for um, their own ends. If once it's fully collapsed, then we can truly build a parallel reality might become the mainstay reality, and then we can build it anew. A phoenix rises from the ashes. You've got to have the ashes first for the phoenix to rise. So that is why I think as the old system goes down, the new system is going to just automatically go up because we've got to live, we've got to transact. And the economy and the money is in the center of it as a tool, just like the tech. The money is just the tool, the medium of exchange to exchange our goods for our energy or whatever. So, it's incredible times, exciting times, but also I know harrowing times. But we can make a lot better for us if we start looking outside the square. And I believe this blockchain initiative is offering us the opportunity to truly move into this new reality. So, yeah, if anyone's got any questions on anything at all, feel free to put them in the chat. I can see them there. Yes, Tony, if a reset doesn't happen, then it means the scandemic has to come to an end. Well, yes, and the scamdemic is coming to an end, and it's all tied in together. So whether the thing is for them to reset, they need a blockchain as well. They need the digital based currency as well. But like everything in the world, there's two sides to every coin. And that is unwittingly giving us the ability to create our own economy, even though it can also create something exactly opposite. A CBDC needs blockchain, but a CBDC can be programmed just like cash to be, it can be programmed by the central controllers to track and trace us and see where we're spending our money. I know that's there, but blockchain or crypto can also be programmed to do the exact opposite, to decentralize and redistribute money. And that's obviously the area where we have to look. That's why we need knowledge. That's why we need to understand what's going on and know the difference. If people just apply a CBDC mentality to the whole of crypto, you're never going to see it. You're not going to see it. And that's unfortunate, but they're choosing that, even if it's by default. So, yeah, I've been advised to carry a large amount of cash because of an impending crash. Cash will be useful for a while, yes. I think cash will have a value in the transitional period, but it will not for a long term, very short term. But why have cash when we have cryptocurrencies now that are appreciating in value? They're not inflating, they're growing in value, or they're at least holding their own, or they're at least, even if they are going down in price, we know why they're going down in price, and we know that they are going to be used as a new part of a new world economy, which is, it may not be perfect, but it will be a heck of a lot better than what we've got. And we could basically profit off it as little people to profit on a potential global currency on the ground floor is something that you never ever get. When Facebook were getting launched on the stock market, or Amazon, Apple, did we have an opportunity to have a little have any of that shareholding? No, we didn't. We had to have you had to be already an accredited investor, which means you had to be part of their club. But with blockchain, that's leveled the playing field. So even though some things might not be developed the way we would ultimately like, we can still profit from it and be an investor in a new system. And at the same time, we can create our own parallel economy that's even better as well. So we can actually have our finger in both pies. And, and I do think that there is a better world economy coming, but it will take some time before the right people come get fully on board, and before the old system has to collapse to a certain point. Wait till the stock market starts collapsing, could potentially collapse 70%, in a matter of days or hours. When that starts happening, then there's going to be real panic in the streets, and we need something else to run to. By then, it's going to be too late, really. Well, it's not too late, but it's better to be a little early and be safe, knowing what's happening, than trying to maneuver yourself out of cash when the banks have already closed and they've already stolen your money and they've already bailed you in. Then it's obviously too late. Then you've got two sticks maybe to rub together, and that's it. So we have to get our financial sovereignty back, and then we can move into a better world. But everything revolves around the financial system. The financial system literally has a tentacle to every other system in the world. Everything that we have, the political system, the science, the education, you name all the key areas, the energy system, they all need the financial system to operate. If the financial system does a full collapse, every other system is coming down. And so out of the rubble, we're going to have to build a new one, which has already actually been built. So it's not like we're going to be starting from scratch. But if people aren't prepared, you're gonna think that the whole world is literally ending. And so this is part of what we're about. DeFi freedom is about freedom on every level, not just financial. So yeah. I think that I've probably said enough to if anyone else wants to hang fire, anyone else that's interested in the TPR, if you want to, what we'll do is we'll probably move to a Zoom. I'll probably put it on a Zoom call. And Gerald, are you able to put my...
I can't put a comment up today, but if you want to get a pen and paper, guys, we'll give you the number, the identity number. Have you got it, Tony, or do I need to look for it?
Yeah, it's 873 654 6997. That's my Zoom ID. So you just go into your app and then join a meeting, put that ID number into your Zoom, no password required, and then you'll jump into my personal Zoom room.
Yeah.
And I know that some people have already offered up, already said, yep, they're keen. So if any of those people here, would definitely be a good idea to come. And we won't be long, because I've got to go at 5:30 sharp, as I've got something on, some personal things I've got to do. But yeah, that's the number. So just if you want to jump on Zoom, or if you haven't got time now, just flick me a private message and I can tell you the details there, but we just are looking for 12 people. That's what they stipulated. I haven't put the cap on it. They have, because completely overwhelmed as it is. They're completely swamped with inquiries. So, you know, they're working with, they're working with Voices for Freedom and the other freedom movements, and there's got a lot of people in there who are obviously keen and interested. And like I said, they're doing everything manually to ensure that the right people are on the ground floor. These people, the people that get in now, you literally just can take the lift from the ground floor. This is a true. This is not a pump and dump scheme. This is not like how you watch the crypto go up and down like like crazy volatility on the market. This TPR will not be subjected to that because of its gold, because the gold price algorithm. It's a bit like Qoin as well. Qoin is our other merchant opportunity. It's based on what's happening with the merchants and us people. It's not been traded on the public exchange and been bought up in large quantities by these big whales and then dumped. So that's important to know.
Yeah.
So, Lisbon, if
Yeah.
anyone wants my full link, just send me. I'm on Messenger, or just send
Yeah.
me
Well,
a hi.
just get onto Zoom, and then in your little app, click join meeting, I think, and then it'll say what's
Yes.
the ID, and you put 873-654-6997, and then that should get you in.
Yeah. Or just send me a message on Messenger, and I can send you the full link where you can then click on it, and then it will just open in your browser.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, if there's any other questions about what I've spoken about, or any before we leave the live, if anyone else has got any query about, TPR or parallel economies or anything, feel free to ask it now. Otherwise, we'll see you in the Zoom. Even if you want to just come in as a spectator and hear a bit more, that's all fine. This is just the beginning, and they are going to hold. By the way, they're going to hold this special price for us, for an extended amount of time. So
How come you
that's
don't have a pen? Nirmo. Yeah. Hang on. I'll. Can you say it to me? Well, if I write it
it's.
here, you still don't have a pen, so you still can't write it down, can you, Nirmoha?
I'll send you my link, Namaha.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
send you my.
Otherwise, I'll write it here, and then you can take a screenshot or something.
And
What's your
we
number
will
again?
record it as well.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
So
Good
it's
idea.
873 6554. No,
No,
654.
no. It's 654. There's not the additional 5.
Yeah, yeah.
Six five four 6997.
6997. Yeah.
Yeah.
6997. So there you go. Yeah, that's the one.
Cool.
So either take a screenshot or just.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all right for some of us listening to a webinar while having a massage. Yeah. Oh,
Oh, the
well,
life.
I hope you're enjoying it tremendously.
Anyway, we will exit out of here now, and we look forward to seeing you in there.
Yep. Okay. Talk to you soon.
Yep.